Sports stories from the 419 in Northwest Ohio, brought to you by a voice you know. It's time to go around the area and around the Hearn.
Hello and welcome into a very special edition of Around the Hearn. If you listen to all of the podcasts in this series, you will have heard this a handful of times, and for that, I'd apologize, but it's just the easiest way to do it. I've got a massive undertaking with this series. I did this last year and didn't have as many coaches, but have been blessed to have so many great coaches be a part of this. 45 total interviews where you will hear from girls coaches, boys coaches, and a little bit of a preview of the season, which kicked off last night as I'm recording this. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way, as my daughter would say, gobble, gobble, gobble. But I really love this series, and I really hope you enjoy it. I hope you reach out to me either on Facebook or on Twitter, because it's a labor of love. 45 coaches are separated like this. Putnam County girls are represented by Calliope's Adam Huber, Vaughn Horseman of Audubon, Sean O'Connor from Fort Jennings, and Ross Yearman of Miller City. Putnam County boys, Connor Coles from Grove, Mike Lee from Pandora Gaboa, Scott Keck from Continental, the one and the only Keith Utendorf from Audubon, Ross Kaufman of Miller City, and Ryan Steckschulte from Kalida. Northwest Conference girls, Adam Burris, who's had a big week. He picked up his first win as the head coach of the Bluffton girls. Had a big turnaround, too, because they were outscored in the first half, but held Corey Rawson to just 11 points. Greg Ekus, in a decade of Ekus at Spencerville. Aaron Montgomery at Allen East. Kyle Williams from Lincoln View, and Mark Gregory from Crestview. NWC boys, you've got Ada's Vince Halliday. Kevin Sensabaugh from Spencerville, now in his 22nd year, by the way. Gabe Young from Allen East. Jordan Jenninghoff from Delphus Jefferson. Brett Hammonds of Lincoln View, and Doug Etzler from Crestview. Midwest Athletic Conference, Parkway's Dan Williamson. Amy Meyer from Coldwater. Best Drive from Marion Local. Mike Wiss from Minster, and Andy Timmerman from New Bremen. The Midwest Athletic Conference has the entire conference full of coaches. Aaron Elwer from St. John's, Travis Swank from Versailles, Doug Hughes from Parkway, Eric Rosenbeck of St. Henry, Nick Fisher from Coldwater, Mike McClurg from Minster, New Bremen's Corey Stevens, Kurt Guttemiller from Marion Local, and Carson Monger from New Knoxville. Western Buckeye League, Kenton's Ryan Miller, Trey Elkert from Wapak, Matt Tabler from Elida, and Tyson McLaughlin from Ottawa Glandorf. WBL Girls, Hannah Flippo from Van Wert and Elise Jenkins from Elida. GMC has both Wayne Trace coaches, and Jim Linder on the boys and Bethany Desjardins for the girls. Shelby County the exact same way for Fort Loramie. Carlos Siegel and Mitch Westerheide. And just for good measure, Anna's Nate Barhorst. Those are the coaches that I was able to spend some time and talk to this week and the last 2 weeks. And it has been quite literally a huge undertaking, like I said before. So I really hope that you enjoy it, that you get some entertainment, you get some knowledge, you get some value out of it. I'm really excited about the basketball season starting and the crossover with the state semifinals for football this weekend. And I can't thank the coaches enough for being a part of it. And without further ado, I bring you the 23-24 Around the Hearn season basketball preview. Enjoy. Working our way through the Midwest Athletic Conference, talking to the ninth-year head coach of the Marion Local Flyers in Betts Tribe. And 22-5 a year ago, district champs, 8-1 in the league. But that heartbreaker with Tri-Village, did you sit with that for a little bit during the offseason, or were you able to let it go and look at the season as a whole and what the girls accomplished?
Anytime you lose at the end of the season, it sticks with you for a little bit. But, our girls really fought through that game, and I don't really think there was very many people in the state of Ohio, or really anyone really even giving us a chance, and we definitely had our chances. So, like I said, any loss on a coach is tough, especially at the end of the year. But in the end, we told our girls we were very proud. It was the first time we had made it to regionals, and I can't even remember how many years, but it had been a while, and it was my first time ever. So as a head coach, told them I'm really proud of them, and really proud of especially our seniors, because they stepped in a lot of big ways last year.
With having 9 years in now, you've seen the league sort of change and kind of up and down, ebb and flow the way that it's gone. but you have what has to feel like, at least to me, just reading it on paper, about everything you could want to know about basketball on your bench with Larry, Maria, and Treva. I mean, is there anything that you guys just sort of look at a little bit differently because you all are able to look at it through a different lens, or are you all just kind of pretty much on the same page as it goes along?
Yeah, we've been doing it together for a while now. Like you said, we have a variety of experiences. Obviously, Larry's been around the game for a long, long time. So has Treva, Maria and I, and all three of us girls played in college, so we have that experience as well from some different perspectives there. So I think we bring in obviously some different perspectives, and we obviously have different coaching styles, as well. Treva's obviously a little louder, a little more intense, where some of us other
No,
ones are a
not
little more laid
Treva.
back. Yeah, she is.
No.
Um, but I think, that helps. And that's why we work well together because we all get along, but we all have different styles and different backgrounds and perspectives as well.
I've talked to a handful of coaches already about the MAC this year, and one of the teams that they all target is Marion Local. When you look at something like that, is there any extra pressure because of the year you had, or with having 4 returning starters, obviously Chloe being out with an injury, but that maybe you're just kind of able to extrapolate that a little bit and say, you know what, that's great. We know we're getting big shots every night. We're just going to go out and put our best foot forward.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're kind of young. Speaking forth, I know Chloe's out and we lost 5 seniors last year. So really right now our only returner that played a whole lot was Ava. It's always good when you have a point guard, but after that, we're pretty really inexperienced. But, we kind of tell the girls every game, no one's going to feel sorry for Marion Local. I mean, no matter what the sport, honestly, they're always going to give us our best shot. So we got to be ready and prepared every game. And, that's kind of how we try to prepare them in practice is, we got to work and compete each day to make each other better because we're always going to get everyone's best shot.
I've got to believe, though, that if you're able to pick up a returner and say, all right, I have this one player who's leading my team, most coaches might start with an experienced point guard.
Oh, absolutely. Especially in girls basketball. That's huge. That's huge. She'll be a 3-year returner only as a junior. So obviously we're expecting a lot of big things out of her. But she's only one person and can only do so much. People can obviously work to shut her down very well. So we have to look at some other options and, obviously other scoring, and there's still defense and a lot of other aspects of the game that we have to work on. We can't just, rely and focus on her. But you're definitely right. An experienced point guard is a huge dimension to have back.
You get 2 games on the road in your first 3 of the season. Not easy places to go in Shawnee and Versailles. When you're able to kind of say to the girls, hey, we got to get on the bus. We got to go play at a high level right out of the gate. How are they able to respond to that?
Yeah, it's tough, especially like I said, with a bunch of inexperience. We'll be playing a couple freshmen, so we've tried to schedule some challenging scrimmages to help with that. Even if we don't win the scrimmage, it's going to prepare us for those first games. The scrimmages don't really mean anything, so we've our last scrimmage is against Crestview next week, so that I think will be a good test for us right before the season starts to see where we're at and what things we need to fine tune before those first 2 tough games.
I love that it's pretty much someone says if we have a tournament or a classic, you guys say, what time are we playing? And we'll be there.
Yeah, we're I'm pretty easygoing as a person and I kind of carry that over, but before the girls want to play, it's better than practicing. We'd rather go play a game than practice. So, and you learn from those games probably more than you do from a practice as well, whether you're watching it on film or just talking about it. Games are definitely more fun. And like I said, you learn more from them as well.
I just know one of those, the BAT tournament is obviously always a highly competitive thing. And with Versailles now having their own, and that'll be the second time that you guys will go there in kind of in a month and a half. But is there any, I've asked coaches about home court advantage. When you go to a place, is it just a rhythm thing when you have to go the second time, or is there even anything to that because you won't be playing Versailles the second time?
I don't particularly see anything to it. I mean, I think there's maybe certain gyms. I mean, I know for one, a lot of people don't like to come to Marion because it's, closer to the court and things like that. And some of your older gyms, it may affect you. But in Versailles, I mean, I think it'll definitely help us that we've already played there just to get used to the background and things like that. But I don't in particular see an advantage or a disadvantage over playing on a court before. The floor is usually the same length, the rims are the same height, and all that good stuff. So
I like going to Marion. I just wish that once I walked in the front door, my phone would work.
yeah, that's a lot of gyms, though.
Right. Elida and Maria Stein, I kind of have the same problem. But you have obviously heavy hitters with the MAC on your schedule this year. The way that it breaks down, you have some of your big games at home. When you take a look at the league from top to bottom, you're in for a fight every night, like I talked about. But how much of the league do you feel like has changed last year, or to be a lot of the same teams near the top of it?
I think you're always going to have some of the same teams near the top. Minster's always going to play well, especially defensively, and keep themselves in the game. Same with Versailles. I feel like St. Henry is kind of turning the leaf, and they could definitely be towards the top. I mean, Parkway, we split with them last year in the MAC, but they obviously lost a good senior class, but I think they'll still be competitive. They have some good younger girls that played some minutes as well. I definitely don't think, we lost some good big post players, so we might see some different offenses and things like that ran with not as many of your traditional post players in the league. But, like you said, overall, it's going to be pretty competitive every night, and you always have to be prepared.
Well, I thank you so much for letting us look inside your program.
No problem.
That's Look at Marion Local. We've got more from the MAC in just a couple of seconds when we come back. Sticking with the MAC, talking girls basketball with Dan Williamson, the head coach at Parkway, coming off of a 20-3 season a year ago and an 8-1 co-conference championship season. But Dan, a lot different this year with losing big players right on the top with Allison Hughes, Emery Niddle, and Gabby Stober. How are you going to try to replace the output of those three young ladies?
Well, it's definitely going to have to be by committee for sure. Those three players brought a lot of skill, a lot of knowledge about how to play varsity basketball at a high level. So losing those three, is very tough to replace. But we have a lot of, returning players from our team last year that got some good minutes. We have 2 starters coming back. We have, 4 letter winners coming back, and then we've got a good mixture of some freshmen and some sophomores that can hopefully contribute a little bit. But yeah, for sure, we definitely have a lot to replace with those 3 girls. So we're just kind of talking about, how can we best maximize, our opportunities when we have them? How can we get the best shots possible? Because those 3 made it really, really easy on us, as coaches to, game plan for other teams and try to get shots, obviously for themselves, but for their teammates. They really, really opened up a lot of things for their teammates. So, can we find some girls that can do those types of things, scoring individually, but also, getting some open shots for their teammates.
Are you able to look at last season? 20 wins, obviously your best in your 4 years that you've been there with the MAC championship, with everybody's talking about Parkway basketball. And I heard a lot of people say, where's this coming from? As if they didn't really understand what you and the girls had been building. But kind of as you're able to walk back through the season, I've got to believe that the heartbreaker, though, the loss to Wayne Trace in the semis, kind of sat with you and the girls for a little bit.
Oh, for sure. That's one that I'll never get over. When I'm, 80 years old and I'm, I can't do much else, but I'll remember that one. And I just felt so bad for our seniors, because they put so much time and energy and effort into the game of basketball over their entire careers, not just last season, but, some of those girls started playing basketball when they were, 4, 5, 6 years old. I just felt so bad for them to go out that way. It took a while to be able to even want to look at a basketball again, to be honest with you, after that one. And it's not like, we didn't play well. We got to give a ton of credit to Wayne Trace on that one. But, it was just one of those games where they were better than us on that night, and they did a lot of good things that they deserved to win that game. But for sure that one will stick with us for a long time. But once we kind of got over the emotional heartbreak of that loss, we could definitely look back at the season, and without a doubt, it was a successful season. I mean, the first team in school history to win a conference championship. So we were obviously excited about that. 20 wins. So there were a lot of good things, but yeah, I mean, for sure, that was definitely a bad way to end a really, really good season.
It kind of piggybacks something I just asked about having Gabby Stober. I mean, almost 1,500 points, the 13th highest in conference history. With her on her way out, what was it about how she got those younger girls? Because you lose 3 of your 5 starters, but I know that there's a lot of talk in Rockford about how she made the younger girls, whether it be the underclassmen or the middle school girls coming up, better basketball players by just kind of honing in on maybe things they could do better, and how will that help your program going forward?
Well, yeah, I mean, having a great player like that obviously helps, but she was a great leader. On and off the court. She was always helping out at our summer elementary camps, working with kids and showing them how to get better. And then, when the kids would come to the games and watch, just some of the things that she was able to do on the basketball court, it was just so natural for her. And I think it shows, the hard work, the preparation that she put into her individual game made her the player that she was, without a doubt. And I think it was really exciting for a lot of younger kids to kind of see, the fans in Rockford were awesome last year. I mean, they came out and supported us. It was great to see. She obviously had a good season herself, but she, definitely was a leader and kind of set the tone for what it means to be a really good basketball player at Parkway.
With a younger team, and again, I'm not trying to harp on that. It's just kind of a reality of last year versus this year. When you get on the bus 2 weeks from the day that we tape this, got to go to Convoy. And that's an old team that is very experienced, has made a handful of runs. Just kind of look at the schedule maker and say, hey, wait a second. Thanks for not doing us any favors.
Yeah, right. I mean, we opened up with them last year. It just kind of worked out that way because of the volleyball run that they had made. They went to state last year, so we were kind of their first game. We had our first 2 this year. Requests to move the games later in the season. So yeah, definitely a tough matchup for us. Game number 1, especially on the road. They have a lot of good players with some experience. So that's definitely going to be, a game that we're going to have to be ready to play. It's probably going to be one of the better teams on our schedule. For the whole season. So to open up with that one is definitely going to be a measuring stick to see where we're at as a team.
7 of your first 9 at home before you open up conference play in January at Minster. What does that do coming off of last year of being able to sell folks, hey, if you come in here and provide this high-level environment like last year, these girls are going to feed off of it and play even better?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year was just a product of a lot of hard work that the girls had put in over the course of many years. And like I said earlier, the fans in the community were great. They came out and supported us every game. So, we hope to do the same thing this year. We hope that people are excited about Parkway girls basketball. The girls are working really hard right now. We are a relatively young team, but I think they're going to come out and they're going to play hard. They're going to give everything they have, and we do have a lot of girls that have a good amount of varsity experience. Maybe not in basketball per se, but we have a lot of girls that played varsity volleyball the last 2 years, and a lot of girls that were on last year's state softball team. So those are experiences that will definitely help them in basketball as well.
When you look at the MAC this year, who's the team or teams that you expect to be up at the top?
Wow, I mean, obviously you got to look at Marion Local and Minster. I think they're a staple to be at the top every year. I think St. Henry will be there. They're young, but they've got a lot of good players coming back from last year's team. I think Versailles will be a team that can contend. Obviously, we hope that we're there, contending for some. For a shot at the MAC championship again. But I think it's a really balanced conference this year. In my opinion, there's not really one team that's head and shoulders above everybody else. So I think, every week is going to be a battle, and we're going to have to be ready to play just to compete and give ourselves a chance to win.
So basically, the MAC is the MAC as always this year, and pretty much,
yeah.
If you've got a basketball, you've got a chance to win it.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just a really tough conference. I mean, there's no teams that are going to give you a night off. I mean, even teams that are struggling a little bit, they're going to be physical and they're going to play hard and they're going to make you earn every win that you get.
Well, I hope you come up with a handful of them and then add even more to that this year. And good luck to you and the young ladies.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah, the girls are working really hard right now. We're excited to finish up with our preseason. We got a couple scrimmages left, but yeah, we're going to keep at it and see how we can get our season going.
That's Dana Williamson at Parkway. We've got more MAC coaches when we come back here in just a couple of minutes. Talking at New Bremen girls basketball now with the head coach and Andy Timmerman, and coming back with that one game in November. You get a very good Delphos Jefferson school before you hit the ground running and then slow down after your own holiday tournament. What's the first couple of the weeks of the season like for you of just trying to hone in and be as good as you can out of the gate?
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge. We have had very successful sports for us, which is good. And for the school and for our players and our teams, it just makes it difficult to get everybody back together. So, I mean, it's just doing the best we can and getting some fundamental things down and getting some time to just try to smooth some things out for us, because I'm not going to be perfect at the beginning, but just kind of continuing to get better, typical get better every day. But I mean, it's just trying to get the girls to understand some habits of each other, because we have a wide range of players and grades playing together. Some have never played together at all. So I think it's just getting girls comfortable playing with each other a little bit more. Like I said, just trying to smooth some things out, some of the major things, and work through some challenges as we go. I think it's kind of nice for the girls too, because they get a chance to on the fly. I mean, there's not a lot of practice time, so a lot of time on the fly that they get to work things out on their own versus me always trying to tell them what to do and how to fix things.
With the awesome success of the volleyball team getting to and winning state for a second year, with the girls that are coming from volleyball, how soon after volleyball did you get them? And how was that of kind of looking at that and making that decision that did you have to try to figure out when you wanted them to come in, but also get a little bit of rest? Or were they pretty much gung-ho with volleyball ends, get me back in the gym with a different color ball?
Yeah, it's a challenge every year, and every different group of girls, and a lot of it depends on where they're at with the volleyball team. If they're getting a lot of playing time, or they're just there for more support and challenging more a practice player, I guess you could say. So actually, most of them came back on that Monday. We had a scrimmage, so they were dressing or part of that state tournament team, championship team, and then they came back. Most of them came back on Monday. And then later on in the week, a couple others came back. So, by the end of the week, everybody was back in full swing of things. So that was nice. It was really nice you got to balance that of taking a mental break, physical break from things, but most of them were ready to go right from the beginning. So that was nice, and others needed a little bit more rest, which was perfectly understandable.
You get 7 games, 3 on the road before you host your own holiday tournament, and you take on Anna. Other game, you've got a very good Miami Trace team and St. Mary's. I mean, which is more stressful to you, having those 7 games where your last 3 sort of run up in 9 days, or getting through those 2 days before you have a week break of not only playing in, but hosting the holiday tournament?
Yeah, I think. I mean, it's good. We get a little bit of we don't start off too fast, and then I think it's going to be nice where we can just go play, tweak some things, and go play. Towards the end of December, and then I think just something different with that holiday tournament. It's nice to change things up, change a pace, and get some different schools in for the holiday tournament. It seemed to go well last year. The girls enjoyed that. So I mean, it's nice to get playing again, and then I feel like the back-to-back games, and then it's like, all right, let's take a little break again. So I kind of like the way it's scheduled, is get some games in, and then let's take a break here for New Year's. We get a few days off, just in general for playing, and the girls will get a few days off. So I think I like this. I like the way the schedule is as far as that, and then we can kind of regroup for the new year.
After the new year, a couple of weeks, you go to Versailles to play in their classic. You get Wilmington kind of in the middle of the day, a 4:30 game. But it looks like that at least a handful of the teams that are in that you have either seen or you will get to see coming up. It's kind of like free scouting. How much does that change your day of playing at 4:30?
Yeah, it's a little different. I mean, I feel like us with the holiday tournament that we're having, it's just a different schedule. So it'll be nice because it's just different as far as the holiday tournament and different teams coming in and playing and having more than just your own JV varsity game. So I feel like that'll get us adjusted a little bit. It is a little bit earlier in the day. So I feel like routine wise, it won't be too different. I mean, yes, it's a little different, but routines are still the same, and we still have the JV. Our JV will play right before our varsity, so it'll be good. I think the girls are excited for it. We get to play a team that we don't know anything about. So that'll be kind of cool to play somebody that we're unfamiliar with. I mean, it's in general until we get closer and scout them and everything like that. But yeah, it's an exciting day. Go see a lot of basketball. Obviously, like you said, good time to go scout some other teams too, but can focus on ourselves as well.
Well, especially it helps because Marion is your next game a couple of days later, and they're playing at one point too. But you might have the oddest thing in that you have 4 Monday games. Was that just the way it worked out? Were they fit, or was there a purpose for that?
Well, I mean, we always play house on a Monday. That's just how it always seems to fall. And then with the holiday tournament at Versailles, that was another one. And actually Lincoln View, we typically play on Monday. So I guess with us, we always have 2 Monday games. And then the holiday tournament, we picked up another Monday, and then we picked up Hardin Northern kind of later, and that's just what worked in the schedule. So usually 2 Monday games, had a third one because of the holiday tournament, and then the fourth one, just that's kind of how it worked out in our schedules.
I mean, I'm always about it because I'm always looking for something to do on a Monday night. I just might be a basketball junkie. You get Chloe Holman and Marina Nelson coming back, who are first-team picks in the league. Other than that, I mean, you guys have that depth up top with, hey, I don't have to maybe necessarily look for leaders. You lose, obviously, a terrific player in Abby Powers. But how much does the confidence that Chloe and Marina play with at the top make it a little bit easier for you of maybe not having to say certain things that they take care of?
It's very nice. I mean, you can tell when they were not there, aren't in a drill, whatever it might be. You can tell when they're there or not. They lead by example. They lead. I mean, they're very vocal leaders. They know the expectations and everything. That's just general, but then you have their skill on top of it. That, yeah, it relieves pressure off of other people. Sometimes I almost think they're too unselfish because of their skill, and sometimes they just need to realize that they got to go make the move. They got to go make a play because they're definitely capable of it. So. Yeah, they're great and great teammates and everything. So it helps when definitely they have some experience and in basketball knowledge that helps set the pace for our team.
You look at the MAC, and a lot of people that I've talked to have mentioned Marion Local to me because apparently they're still pretty good as it goes. Where does New Bremen fit into the Midwest Athletic Conference this season?
I think we're fighting for the top. I think that with those two girls that we just talked about, and a couple new additions that we have. I feel like this. I mean, my third year being here, I feel like there's a lot better understanding, top to bottom, of kind of the expectations that we have within our program, and I feel like the girls are stepping up, and different girls are stepping up. So I think we're going to be very competitive. I think we have the talent, we have the girls there. We just have to put it together.
Well, good luck this season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot for having me on.
That's a look at Bremen girls basketball. More on the way. Midwest Athletic Conference basketball and a little bit of orange and black with the head coach of the Lady Cavaliers and Amy Meyer. Is this right? I just read in the information sheet you sent 24 years now at the school.
Yes, I've been here 24 years coaching.
I mean,
24 years.
That feels like you've probably seen some things.
I've probably seen a few things, yes, and then you add playing here, so I feel like I've just kind of been here for quite a while.
Now, you saw Nick Fisher come, you saw Nick Fisher go. It's kind of saw his beard grow, I would imagine, quite frequently.
Yeah. It's changed, yes.
But
maybe grayed a little.
I do want to ask you, though, thinking about kind of that time, from the time you've played, the time you've coached, how much have you seen the game itself change? It's still simple, so to speak, put the ball through the basket, but there have been a lot of changes offensively and defensively to just the way the game has been played.
I think the biggest change is the fact that, I think basketball is a very skilled sport. So in order to be able to play at a high level, you got to put a lot of time in. And unfortunately, kids are pulled in many different directions. So they don't always have enough time maybe to put into basketball. And it's a tough sport. It's probably one of the longest seasons, and there's a lot of skills, and it's really hard to hide on a basketball court. So you got to be skilled in the sense you got to be able to handle the ball. You got to be able to handle pressure and be able to take all of those things. And I think a lot of kids today, it's hard work. So it becomes more difficult to be skilled enough to perform at the highest level.
Last couple of years specifically, you've been, depending on who tells the story, blessed or cursed to have volleyball be so good. What's that been like to kind of go from volleyball's always been good, but now with the run that they've been on the last couple of seasons, to have to maybe start your planning later because you don't know when you're going to get them?
I think the biggest thing, that anytime you can get kids to compete at a high level, that's going to help your program. So for me, I look at it as, it's a blessing. I've got kids who are coming out of the volleyball program that have played at a state level, who've played in high intense games. That's going to equate to positives for us as a basketball team. Yes, we might get started late, but like I referenced, it's a long season, so we'll catch up. It'll be all right. Playing your best basketball at the end of the year is the most important.
When you look at what you guys have coming back, you have a terrific class, and you were able to get Madison Wendell to come back to play basketball. What's that group like as far as it seems like from watching them in different sports that they all play together and they're a very tight-knit group?
The group that we have coming back, I think you nailed it on the head. They're a tight-knit group. They enjoy being around each other, and they play together very well. They look and depend on each other. So that's huge. I think the biggest thing is, getting them to be able to continue to play together and not just playing together and being able to continue to improve as we go throughout the year, meshing with everybody.
When you look at what you lost, obviously you lose a huge piece in an All-Ohioan in Riley Rissmiller. How about, though, for her? How proud are you right now? First of all, not many people in the area get to make their college debut against UConn, let alone score 6 points in Storrs.
Super excited for her. I actually got to go to that game and watch her play in person.
Oh, now you're just bragging.
Not really bragging, just had the opportunity. You know, it's probably a once in a lifetime opportunity, like you said. So, bucket list item for me myself. So I went, and you know, just being able to watch the game and see her perform at the level as a freshman, you know, at UConn. I mean, it was tremendous. She played well. She did a lot of little things right, and she's only going to improve from here.
What does it say about MAC basketball, though, too? Because between she and then Ivy Wolf is on that team with the transfer, and she's able to score her first points a couple of nights ago. I mean, to just be able to, two girls from just down the road now showing out and showing what MAC basketball is at a high level.
I think anytime, you know, you compete every night in the MAC, you understand the intensity, the level of competition, and the ability for the opponent on any given night to win. So that whole level of competition and the respect between the schools, it just makes our kids better and more prepared for the next level. And obviously at Dayton, you can see that with two of our kids playing well and taking the reins right there.
15-9 last year. Important that it's 6-3 in MAC play. I know you guys were dejected about losing to Jefferson, obviously a terrific team that made a big run into the districts. But what's this team? What's the composition of this team? What have they learned from the way last season went with the kind of ups and downs that is really going to help them out this year?
Well, I think, you know, when you have a group of seniors, a group of 5 of them, and, you know, they understand this is it. There's not a next year, coming together, playing hard, and just building around the concept of wanting it now and understanding that, you know, they want to get it, take care of unfinished business now. And I think you learn things, you know, you had the chance to beat a Jefferson at the end, so you're right there. And that just kind of springboards you this year to making sure you put all of your, you know, your plays together and every possession counts and just getting things done.
With having Madison be 5'11" as your tallest player, you obviously don't have a post that just towers over everyone and can help you disrupt opponents' offensive game plans. With her missing a year and coming back and being the tallest player, do you have to do anything maybe schematically, at least early, a little bit different to sort of work her in, I would imagine, being that big key down there?
I think the biggest thing, you know, with all of them is, you know, anytime you take a 6'5" kid out of the middle, yeah, and you don't replace anybody with a 6-footer, you're going to have to change a little bit. And, you know, maybe we don't disrupt at the rim. We got to disrupt out on the wings and the guards. So it's just maybe just a different focus, being able to pressure the basketball, more on-ball pressure, knowing that, you know, you're going to need help, and the help's not coming from block. It's going to come from, you know, cutting off a lane or a drive. That to me is maybe the schematic change. I don't want to say that it's centered around any one person. It's going to be centered around the whole team, just being able to perform at a different level as far as pressuring the basketball.
It's less than 10 days from the time that we're having this conversation that you start off with Botkins before you have to go to Salina. Heavy hitters early on in your lineup, and then you get Botkins at Salina, home for Kalida before you kick off conference play in Game 4 against Minster. How good does this team have to be early, and how much do they have to buy into everything to get those wins in those 4 games?
I think, you know, our schedule, I don't feel ever gives us too many forgiving nights. So I think you just got to be ready. Like I said earlier, you know, our league every night, you got to be ready, but our non-conference games, I feel like are, you know, as you call them, heavy hitters. We got to be ready to go that first night out. You know, it's a home game at least, and then we go away, and then we come back for 2 home games at home, and, you know, those are not going to be easy games either. So we just got to be ready on day 1, game 1, and improve every day and get better and understand that each game counts. But, you know, the tournament is at the end of the year, and we want to be playing our best ball then. So, but we got to be ready every night.
I can't wait to see what you do. Good luck this season.
All right. Thank you very much.
That's the head coach of the Coldwater Cavaliers, Amy Meyer. I've got some more coming your way in just a couple of minutes. Walking down the path in the Midwest Athletic Conference now, talking to Mike Wiss, the head coach of the Minster Wildcats. And when we look at this, I mean, you guys off a district final last year, you lose 6 seniors, but you have a JV team that goes 21-1. It feels like on paper, or at least the one that you sent me, that your future is pretty bright.
We did have a very nice year last year, especially at the JV level. And, you know, our varsity, we ended the year 14-11, made a nice run at the end of the year and got, like you said, to the district final against Marion Local. They got us by 11. You know, we one thing that we talk about in Minster is we're not just a team, we're a program. And we try to the best of our ability, continue that. As this is I want to say this might be my 8th year, but it's also my 30th year. I've been in the gym for 30 years in Minster. I was Coach Stexeldy's JV coach for 19 of those. And I learned a bunch from both her and from Mike Lee, who's now at Pandora. And it's we just keep grinding. We got good kids and they work hard, and we've stressed how hard we work every day. So I'm happy where we're at and ready to start the season on Friday at Wapak.
I have said before, because I have heard stories that your relationship with Nan or Nan's relationship with you, however the story is being told, might be one of the best former head coach / assistants to now current head coach / assistants, because you guys are so different, but you see kind of the same things in the long run.
You know, that you say that, and it just occurred the other day, just in practice, when something occurred, and as she was ready to tell me, I was telling her the exact same thing. Again, I've learned a boatload from her, and I continue to say I will always learn. The day that I'm not learning something from her or from Coach Wolf is the day that I'll be done. But it has been a very good relationship. I thank her a bunch for what she's done in making the program, keeping it strong. And now we just kind of pretty much switched seats several years ago. And I'm the guy standing up, and she's sitting down by me now.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
I've seen where both of you are standing up, and she's the one doing the pacing.
It can get a little heavy sometimes.
Her pedometer's got plenty of steps on it.
Yes, it does. And that speaks to how much time and energy and love she puts into the game. And the girls see that as well. The girls see the passion, the emotion, in practices and in games, and just how much it means. It
also just kind of changes who gets the losses, and sometimes gets credit for all the wins.
Sure, absolutely. You know, I've been around the block a little bit, I guess. It's hard for me to say it's already been 30 years, but it's also been 30 years of teaching. And I struggle to believe that it's been that long already. But I do enjoy it. And like I said, we have a nice group of young ladies this year.
Well, it's funny that you say it that way, because I talked to Carla Siegel, and she said it almost the same way of, I try not to look at the amount of years because I don't feel like necessarily it doesn't wear on me that it's been that many years. But her big takeaway is kind of the same thing you're saying of, when I start to feel like this is a job, and when I don't enjoy going into the gym and coaching basketball every day, I'm probably going to find something else to do.
Very much. Very much. That's well said. And I'll feel the same way about baseball. You know, it's something that you do, and it's not work, especially when you know you have good kids and they're giving everything that they have.
Have they
Wins and losses aside.
Found a third sport for you to coach it, like checkers or, something else to keep you busy?
I did football for 22. That was enough.
It depends on who you hear the story from. This year, you look at it, you talked about in your season outlook about how good the teams on your schedule are in the MAC, Shelby County, WBL.
Yeah.
You have pretty much murderer's row in your non-conference schedule, and then that's before we even get to your MAC schedule.
Yeah, it was nothing. It was a few years ago, and we had a school ask us about how do you get your schedule to be tougher, because a lot of them are 2, 3, or 4 year contracts. And if you're stuck in a mode where you're playing somebody that isn't very strong for a certain number of years, how do you do that? And I just gave them what we do, and they looked at us and said, boy, I don't know that I'd want to do that. And I said, well, that's what we want to do. We want to play those teams. Is it difficult? Is it, you want to say murderer's row? It can feel that way sometimes. But, it was a really tough grind last year. We had Fort Laramie, Marion, Liberty Benton, right in a row. And Ottoville, I think, was in the middle of that. And it's tough. But the way we go about it and talk about it each day, it's life lessons. And like I said, wins and losses aside, we're getting better. We're making each other stronger. We're developing a team. And that's what sometimes life's about.
When you look at what you have coming back, you have 4 seniors and a couple of juniors in your top 6, including one that was an honorable mention league pick as a sophomore, and then getting Lily Barhorse back, who was an All-MAC pick a year ago. What can this team be capable of hitting the ground from day one?
Well, we're going to be probably a little young in our guard play because we lost 4 of our seniors last year were 4 senior guards. But like I said, and you said, the JV schedule was just as strong as the varsity schedule, and they had to grind through some games as well. So that kind of good, strong JV schedule helps you when you enter into the varsity thing. I know you mentioned we're not ready to have Lily back yet. She's not ready to be playing yet with a little bit of a knee.
See, I was trying to look on the positive side of you get her back at some point.
Yeah, we're not ready. I hope we do. I really hope we do. But we stress every day the importance of staying together, being together, doing the right things, and we're hoping when the time comes that we do get, that's 15 points and 12 boards a night, and we're just not there yet to get Lily back on the floor.
See, I'm just trying to manifest some good things for you. That's how I'm trying to keep that moving.
You did a nice job.
You said you guys are not the tallest team. You want to apply your defensive pressure, something that you've done well over the years of being able to hound and annoy opponents, score in transition. With having kind of an experienced backcourt with Addie and with Sadie, how much is that going to help kind of maybe being able to cover up those early points that are lost with Lily not being able to dominate down low?
I hope a bunch. I really do. We do 4 seniors, Kayla Lamb, Lydia Mesher, Anna Larger. That with Lily, we have a nice group of senior leaders. We have juniors that are very willing to put in the time with a strong sophomore, and there's some really nice freshmen. The numbers aren't a bunch. We're playing with 17 girls this year. But the quality is there, and I look forward to going to practice each day to help build that.
Well, I'm going to go see if I can find a giant fly swatter and send it to your gym. That way you can swat away that injury bug.
I hope you're right.
Some of those sticky nets or like any one of those things so they don't even enter the gym.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think, like I spoke of quality, and, the quantity sometimes isn't always there. You see that at different programs in different places. But I'm really pleased where we are. And, basketball is a tough deal. You got to work at it. Ball handling, it's something you got to play all the time to get better at, just like all sports in today's world. So, it wasn't like that 40 years ago when we were growing up.
Come on.
We just stay at it.
I don't think we're the same age. I don't need that.
Maybe it's 30 for you.
Maybe it's a little bit. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit less.
Yeah, there you go.
I've had a lot of people make me feel old on this podcast this week. I don't need that one. I don't need your
You
help.
don't need that one.
I thank you so much. You're one of my favorite coaches, one of my favorite people to talk to in the entire world, and I'm always grateful when you spend some time talking about your program.
Well, I appreciate it.
That's Mike West, the head coach at Minster. Thank you so much for listening and staying tuned. I realize that it is a lot of information, but I hope you had at least 1 or maybe 10 interviews that you really enjoyed in this segment and in overall. If you've made it the entire way, can't say enough. Please, again, hit me up on Twitter, at Michael Hearn PvP. Tell me who it was that you enjoyed or maybe who you didn't. It doesn't matter either way. But I appreciate it, and I can't say thank you enough to the 45 coaches who were a part of it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you get out to some games. Big ones coming up this weekend and all season long. Happy to be out there. If you see me, say hi. And you can always find me behind the mic. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow. And happy Thanksgiving.
We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Around the Hearn. Come back next week for more local stories from the NWO. But until then, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Michael Hearn PvP for more great area content.